Tenjo Yuuya is an ugly, fat, pathetic loser who has never felt the touch of a woman. His life was so pathetic that he used to hate himself. However, all of this changes drastically as he comes across a mysterious gate that leads to another world. Inside the world, Yuuya gains some overpowered abilities and also becomes a handsome stud. Even though he considers himself as useless filth born into the world, Yuuya still wants to help someone, so he can feel worthy. As he is walking across a dark alley, he comes across some losers harassing a girl, and instead of joining them, he decides to help the girl. As soon as he addresses them, the guys beat the living shit out of him. And just as the cops appear at the spot, the thugs all scatter, even though they're white. Yuuya also leaves the spot without saying anything, and on his way, he remembers how his grandfather used to tell him to be kind with people, and how it takes courage to be kind. At this point, Yuuya knows that he is an ugly, pathetic loser, and that people hate him. He remembers that time when his own parents abandoned him simply because of how ugly he was. During middle school, he got bullied by his own peers, and it just got worse as time passed by. For Yuuya, his grandfather was the only person who genuinely cared about him. He was the only one who advised him to never let any adversity hold him back, and his happiness will definitely come if he helps others. Following his grandfather's death, it is revealed that the old fart had left his entire property to Yuuya, and with this, his already pathetic parents abandoned him completely. The following day, Yuuya musters up the courage to attend the middle graduation ceremony, only to be reminded that people hate him. Even during the last day, my man gets bullied by some random NPCs who look like downgraded versions of Tokyo Manji Gang. Even though Yuuya tells them that he has a part-time job, the thugs still bully him, while the others watch from the sidelines. After this, Yuuya somehow reaches his part-time job and gets fired for not coming in on time. Later on, as Yuuya sees his own vision in the mirror, he realizes how ugly and pathetic he is, and so he breaks the mirror. However, as soon as he punches the wall, a mysterious pathway appears out of nowhere, and Yuuya falls into it. He also comes across some mysterious artifacts and remembers how his grandfather used to travel around the world and bring some useless stuff with him. He then comes across another door that leads to another world. As soon as Yuuya passes through the door, a mysterious window appears in front of him and informs him about some random skills he has acquired. Yuuya, however, doesn't give a shit about it and just continues exploring the house because he has nothing better to do. But suddenly, he gets bombed with notifications. And one of them tells him about some money he can withdraw. Now, Yuuya is quite dumb, so he fails to comprehend what is happening around him, but he realizes that this world is like a game. He also notices that his stats are all at 1, and he's a loser in this world too.
No! God, please, no! No!
Despite this, he receives some points and allocates them for different stats. He then explores the rest of the house and also comes across a letter in which it is revealed he's now the owner of this house. He also notices some weapons and realizes how dangerous they are. With a sword, he gets outside the house and swings it around, only to realize that his sword skills are trash, just like Sakura. He then tries his luck with some other weapons, but was trash at all of those too. Despite all this, Yuuya finds all of this quite strange. After storing all of his weapons in some inventory, he hears some strange noises as a monster attempts to attack him, and Yuuya pisses his pants. However, much to his surprise, the monster fails to cross the barrier. Seeing all this, Yuuya seizes the opportunity to slay the monster with his spear and hurls it towards the monster. It turns out the monster is also a weakling, since Yuuya manages to kill him with one blow. With this, my man Yuuya now levels up and also acquires some artifacts from the monster. Later that night, Yuuya's body starts transforming, and as he wakes up the next morning, he notices some changes in his body. Since he had crushed the mirror, he cannot see his appearance and decides to head out nevertheless. The game features, like the notifications, are working in the real world as well, which shocks Yuuya. He then decides to further explore the other world and notices some vegetables growing in the backyard. He comes across some other monsters as well and slays them with his spear, acquiring some rare drop items as well. After harvesting some vegetables, Yuuya cooks himself lunch and heads out to the library since he was curious about the other world. Following this, Yuuya finally leaves the house and heads into the forest where he gets ambushed by an ugly-ass goblin. At this point, Yuuya is strong enough to defeat mere goblins with his spear. At the end of the day, Yuuya realizes that his life will be back to normal. As Yuuya is heading to school the following morning, he notices that some random NPCs are glaring at him, including his own siblings. Later in class, he gets confronted by the thugs who used to bully him as they fail to recognize him. Yuuya reveals that he is actually Tenjo Yuuya, which shocks all of them. Seeing their reactions, Yuuya rushes towards the toilet, only to see he has turned into a handsome stud. A girl comes out of a car and questions Yuuya about his identity, and Yuuya introduces himself. She looks at him with wonder and asks Yuuya if he had slimmed down, which makes him wonder if she's a stalker. Just then, she reminds Yuuya that she's the same girl he saved at the convenience store a few days back. Confused, Yuuya asks her how she knows his name, so she explains that although it was rude of her to investigate Yuuya like that, she wanted to thank him. She asks Yuuya to join the Orsay Academy, and upon hearing this, Yuuya gets surprised. The girl then introduces herself as Kaori Hujo, who served as an officer on the Usai Academy Student Council and is also the daughter of the chairman of Usai Academy Board. The person alongside Kaori explains that upon hearing about Yuuya's heroics and how he protected his daughter from those ruffians, the chairman wanted Yuuya to attend the academy. On hearing this, Yuuya wonders if his dumbass is good enough for the Yuuya Academy. Just then, lingering on the opportunity, Yuuya's useless siblings ask if they can join the academy instead of him, as they start bragging about their abilities. Kaori, however, declines them and also reveals that she had stalked them as well. This shocks the siblings, as Kaori further lays down their evil acts. Kaori then explains that Yuuya's enrollment would not be a problem because Usai Academy selects students based on the strength of their character. It is then decided that it's better for Yuuya to go to the Osai Academy and get familiar with the campus. At Osai Academy, Tsukasa Hoso, the chairman, expresses gratitude to Yuuya for rescuing his daughter's sorry ass. Suzaka praises Yuuya's character and invites him to join the academy, assuring him about tuition. Yuuya hesitates, feeling unworthy amongst geniuses. Suzaka defines genius as reaching answers swiftly and encourages Yuuya to challenge himself. Reminded of his granddaughter, Yuuya is intrigued as Suzaka suggests a trial enrollment for Yuuya to experience the academy's ethos. Just then, a baddie with two massive melons walks in.
Oh my god! Wow!
And Suzaka introduces her to Yuuya. He tells Yuuya that Miss Sawada is an authority in the science world. Her teaching methodology is quite popular among students. She tells Yuuya to not be nervous and she will help him with everything. Yuuya stands outside the classroom, realizing that there are some students who can immediately find the right way to direct their efforts, and whether he will be the odd one out amongst them. Yuuya musters up the courage and enters the classroom. He nervously introduces himself and wonders why nobody is reacting, and what does everybody think about him. Yuuya sits at the back of the class, and Miss Sawada tells him to share Hayudu's book, since he is sitting next to her. Meanwhile, Kaori wonders if Yuuya is getting along with the individuals at the academy. Soon enough, Yuuya realizes that the lectures at the academy weren't much different from his school, but the students here are much more proactive. During the break, he is bombarded with questions as students ask him random ass questions or whether he is in a club. Just then, someone appears and clears the space for Yuuya and introduces himself as Ryo Igarashi. Ryo tells Yuuya that he's heading to the cafeteria to eat something and they should both head out. At the cafeteria, Yuuya is left in awe as he sees the menu of Osai Academy cafeteria. As Ryu and Yuuya fill their plates, they are summoned by Shingo Kurata. Just as Ryu begins praising the anime that Shingo recommended, suggesting to Yuuya that he should ask Shingo if he wants to watch another good anime, Yuuya suddenly becomes aware that everybody's attention is focused on him. He wonders whether it's because of his different uniform, but Ryu tells him it's because of his face. Shingo asks if Yuuya belongs to a club, to which he replies negatively. Ryu points out that Yuuya would be a great fit for the Going Home Club due to his athletic prowess, while Shingo suggests that Yuuya should join the Game Club instead. It appears that the three of them are beginning to bond and find common ground. Sakasu asks Yuuya about his experience at the academy, and Yuuya explains how the lectures were good and comprehensive, and how the students were having fun throughout. Above all, he's just grateful that people are not treating him like trash. But after all the experience, Yuuya is still confused about whether he is worthy to join the academy, to which Susaka reassures him, stating that he is worthy of this academy. Exiting the chairman's office, Yuuya encounters Kaori, who was waiting for him. She invites him to join the academy and suggests they hang out. Even though Yuuya had never felt the touch of a woman, he agrees. Walking amongst lively shops, Yuuya asks about Kaori's friends, and she admits to having very few due to her father's influence. Yuuya recalls his past weight issues, mindful of overeating. Curious, he asks how she recognized him as her rescuer, and Kaori cites his honest eyes. Tension eases when she requests he addresses her by name. After his enrollment at the Osai Academy, Yuuya once again goes back to the other world because he knew he'd get too busy once he gets back to a busy life. He fights another monster and wipes the floor with it. Now he has reached level 235, he's leveling up slowly, contemplating that he could level up more quickly by venturing outside. Yuuya decides to cross the fence. However, his plans are interrupted by the sound of something screaming. Rushing to the sound of the noise, he discovers a scene of chaos and death, with a powerful level 200 monster wreaking havoc. In the midst of the chaos, Yuuya notices a girl in the peril and immediately jumps into action to confront the monster and protect her. Initially struggling, he gains the upper hand, and defeating the monster, he then approaches the girl, but she faints. Men arrive, and Yuuya is relieved that she's safe, so he hides using his invisibility skill. While ironing his clothes, Yuuya wonders whether the girl that he saved the other day was alright. He remembers the encounter and how people did eventually come to help her in the end. While looking at his shirt, he decides that he should buy some new clothes so he doesn't look like he's wearing the same clothes every day. At the mall, everyone starts staring at Yuuya since he's so damn handsome, which gives him the ick and decides to buy clothes quickly. Meanwhile, a photo shoot is taking place somewhere in the mall, but the director is angry over the fact that the male model of the shoot is late and doesn't care much about the timing. With no other option left, the director decides to go in for his final plan, which is to find somebody good looking enough to be a male model for his current photo shoot. At the store, as Yuuya is struggling to choose clothes, some pick-me girl approaches him, questioning if he can hang out with them. Panicked, Yuuya declines the invitation, politely claiming other plans. On the escalator, he ponders his response's politeness. Meanwhile, the photo shoot team searches for a model. Spotting Yuuya, the director recruits him to play the boyfriend role, to which he reluctantly agrees. During the mall photo shoot, the director instructs Yuuya to smile more. Mai, the female model, sympathizes with his newbie nerves. As the shoot progresses, Mai praises Yuuya for stepping in, while Yuuya is flustered by her melons. The director then instructs them to lock arms, and Yuuya's discomfort grows when Mai presses against him. Wrapping her arms around his neck, Mai notices his unease. The team, relieved to have a model, push through with the shoot. On the other hand, the girl that Yuuya saved earlier finally wakes up and remembers her encounter. She starts going out of the palace looking for Yuuya, whilst her guard tells her that outside is not a safe place for humans to go. She tells him that as a member of the royal family, she must express her gratitude towards the person who saved her. After the photo shoot, an assistant brings Mai and Yuuya something to drink, and Mai apologizes to Yuuya for making him uncomfortable. Yuuya starts coughing, and Mai gives him a napkin to use, while looking at him excitedly. Yuuya tells Mai how working as a model today has made him realize how difficult their work is, and emphasizes his amazement. Mai, however, asserts that she's just used to her work now, but initially she had made a lot of mistakes, and people had gotten angry at her. Yuuya further tells her that he has never worn clothes like this before, and he has also never had any connection with the modelling world, and even though it looks dazzling at first glance, he had realised that all models and staff put a lot of work behind the scene. Yuuya questions Mai regarding her career, and she tells him that it was a vague decision. She further explains that maybe it was because she wanted to be seen, which made Yuuya realise that she was a pick-me girl as well. As a kid, her parents never spent enough time with her, and further she goes on about how her fans like her and that seeing her fans happy makes her happy as well. She advises Yuuya to take every moment in life and enjoy it to the fullest, and that he should take his time and go at his own pace. As both of them are talking and laughing, the director tries to shoot some good shots for the shoot. Suddenly, a random NPC appears at the spot and exclaims that he's late. The man's presence catches the attention of everyone at the mall, including the staff and Yuuya. To Yuuya's surprise, he recognizes the man as none other than Sho, who had been the male model for the photo shoot prior to Yuuya's arrival. Sho tells Mai to finish the shoot quickly so that they can go and eat something delicious. Mai, however, ignores him, like my crush ignores me, which makes him aggressive, and Mai falls back. Seeing this, Yuuya tells Sho that Mai is uncomfortable with his actions, which further infuriates the guy. In a moment of heat, Sho tries to punch Yuuya, but gets his ass whooped. Everyone at the mall is shocked and silenced, while Yuuya thinks to himself that Sho's movement was slow as f***, and that he didn't want to throw him so dynamically to the ground. As he is confused about what will happen as a result of his actions, everyone starts cheering for Yuuya. The director tells Sho that everything has been recorded, and Sho runs away. Mai thanks Yuuya as the director asks if both of them are alright and explains how Sho's behaviour has always been bad. Mai says that Sho had been following her for some time and she didn't know what to do, but because of Yuuya, she was now saved. The director asks Yuuya if he would like to come to work for their company, but thanking the director, Yuuya politely declines the offer by saying that he is too young and he doesn't think he can do the job as a professional so well. As an appreciation for Yuuya's service, the director gives him new clothes that he had hand-picked himself just for Yuuya. Yuuya resists taking them, but the director tells him that there is always some sort of compensation for a service in this world. They wish each other the best of luck, and Yuuya goes back to his life. On the way back, the director mentions how Yuuya would have been a good model in the industry to Mai. While Mai's looking back at her experience with Yuuya, she wishes to one day work with him again. The director notices that as soon as he mentions Yuuya, Mai starts blushing, and so he starts teasing her. In the other world, the princess and her guards are once again surrounded by monsters and are being overpowered by them. But just in time, Yuuya arrives and starts killing all of them one by one with each move. After he saves them, Yuuya tries to heal one of the guards as the princess walks up to him and asks him if he would marry her. The guards are left shocked on hearing Lexia and wonder if she's dumb. He tells her that even though Yuuya has saved their lives, they still don't know who he actually is. Lexia gets angry at this statement and exclaims that it was love at first sight for her, and no one should have a problem with that. Yuuya tells everyone to come to his house since it's not safe for anyone to be out here in the forest. After hearing that Yuuya lives in this forest, all of them get shocked. They reach Yuuya's house and he serves them something to drink whilst they introduce themselves to Yuuya. Firstly, the guard introduces himself as Owen, captain of the Knights of the Arcelia Kingdom. After that, Lexia exquisitely introduces herself as the first princess of the Arcelia Kingdom and thanks Yuuya for saving their lives. On hearing that Lexia is a princess, Yuuya is surprised and apologizes for his frankness all the time. Owen assures him that it's not a big deal, since Yuuya was the one that saved their lives. Owen asks Yuuya to introduce himself as well. Yuuya introduces himself as Owen notices that Yuuya isn't a name belonging to the Arcelia Kingdom, as Lexia comments that Yuuya might be a royal from another country. Owen first questions if Yuuya might be a spy, but on second glance he discards his doubts. Owen reveals to Yuuya that Princess Lexia sought him out to express her gratitude for saving her life. Lexia confesses her newfound feelings for Yuuya, proposing marriage. Yuuya hesitates, suggesting that they start as friends, as Lexia joyfully agrees. Owen mentions the king's desire to meet Yuuya, but Yuuya requests time before meeting due to other commitments. As Lexia departs, she vows to win Yuuya's heart next time. In the small hut within the kingdom, we see a man angry at another. One of the men is explaining how the assassins he sent had separated Lexia from her knights as planned. But as they strayed into the darkest regions filled with monsters, they were annihilated. The other man, who is wearing a mask, inquires why Alexia is still alive, to which he responds that there is no such information on what had happened, and their encounter ends. Yuuya gets ready for his first day at the Usai Academy, and as he is walking, everyone stares at him since he is so handsome. Yuuya meets Sasuke and then heads to attend his class. Upon being presented with the emblematic Usai Academy emblem, his friends expressed joy upon learning that he had become a student of the prestigious institution. During the football match, Yuuya is sitting on the bench since he doesn't play and watches as other students introduce Kaede Kazam to him. Just then, one of the players shoots the ball, but it heads straight for Kaede, and Yuuya heroically saves her. He then shoots the ball so damn perfectly that it ends up in the nets. The player introduces himself as Akira Ikinose, and all of them have a fun little chit-chat. Kaori heads towards the changing room, but notices that everyone's talking about Yuuya. Kaede tells Kaori about how Yuuya not only saved her from the ball, but also shot it for the goal, and all the girls wonder if Yuuya has a girlfriend or not. As Yuuya is taking his class, he sees Kaori outside, and they wave to each other. But just then, the academy gates break open. The students look outside at the hassle, and one of them exclaims that they are the Red Ogres, who are thugs of this region. Yuuya realizes that they are Akira's men. Yuuya's siblings are also with the gang, and they tell Kaori they are here to take revenge for the disrespect she caused them, and how they plan on kidnapping Kaori. Yuuya struggles to muster his inner strength in the real world, but leaps from a 4th floor classroom just to save Kaori. He swiftly fights off assailants, but faces more challenges. Despite obstacles, he showcases immense strength, saving Kaori from abduction and defeating her captors. Police arrive, and Yuuya ensures Kaori's safety, catching her as she falters. Meanwhile, as Yuuya's siblings are discussing how the Red Ogres are just useless, the gang's leader starts choking Yuuya's brother and kicks his sister away, but Yuuya arrives in time to save both of them. Yuuya explains how he's not going to forgive his siblings for all the trouble that they have caused him, but since they are family at the end of the day, he's not going to abandon them. His siblings realise their mistake and start crying. Yuuya's friends also arrive at the scene, and everybody starts praising him for his heroic efforts. After bravely rescuing Kaori from the Red Ogres, Yuuya decides to venture back into the other world. He recalls the knight's words about the area he resides in there. It is the darkest and one of the most dangerous regions in the land. The knight mentioned that the monsters Yuuya effortlessly defeated could devastate a large city if they attacked in a group. Yuuya wondered where Sage Sand lives, since the knight described it to be free of monsters. Yuuya dives deeper into the forest in hopes of fighting stronger monsters, but for our once fat, now strong hero, nothing seems dangerous anymore. Just as he is done for the day, he hears a puppy sound from nearby. He goes in and sees that a level 600 King Orc with an attack power of 20,000 is attacking the puppy. Yuuya might be a strong hero now, but he was once a fat, scared kid. He decides to leave the puppy alone, but he rethinks about what his white old grandpa would have done. So finally, he mans up and decides to save the puppy. All it takes is a single blow from his weapon to kill the King Orc. It turns out he was shitting his pants for no reason. He didn't anticipate defeating it so easily. This situation reminds him of his first monster encounter in this world. He realizes it's due to the legendary weapons he possesses. They can kill monsters with one blow, despite his low stats and levels. He rescues the puppy and gives it a healing potion, which helps it recover. The puppy, being alone, quickly becomes attached to Yuuya and starts to follow him around. Moved by the puppy's affection, Yuuya decides to adopt it. When he checks the puppy's stats, he is stunned to find that it is a level 500 Black Fenrir, an incredibly powerful creature. True to his nature, Yuuya underestimates everything, including his own abilities. He then uses a skill to form a partnership with the puppy and names it Knight because of its jet black fur. Well, it's clear that he's not a racist anyway. For the first time, he obtains a daily necessity item from the monster's drop. Curious about his progress, he rechecks his level and stats, only to find that they are not improving. He still doesn't understand the leveling system. He goes to his elite school the next day and flexes his new dog. He tells them that he got them from a pet shop. Little do they know, it's from another world. Kaidi, as usual, simps over our handsome hero and is all over him. Yuuya, who has never felt the touch of a woman, gets flustered and tells her to give him some space. What a Chad!
What? What the?
Kaidi is a bit too excited about his new puppy. They all want to see his picture, but Yuuya does not have a smartphone. He is a boomer in the body of a model. He wants to get things for his new pet, but all of his friends are busy for the day. Kaidi raises her hand and tells him to accompany him. Yuuya agrees to tag along. She is blushing and melting within because she considers it to be a date. They go shopping and Yuuya puts the new collar on Knight when he comes back. He takes him to the park for a stroll. As usual, people stare at him because he has that unspoken riz we always hear about. He bumps into Kaori while he is walking with Knight in the park. He introduces Knight to Kaori. Kaori gets a liking for him and starts to pet him. People are amazed by the view of a handsome guy, a beautiful girl, and a puppy. After all, it's a rare sight you only get to see in the movies. While they are talking, he bumps into Miyu-san, the famous fashion model he accidentally modeled with at the mall a few days ago. Miyu-san mentions that she takes a walk in this park around this time every day and reveals that she lives nearby. She expresses her excitement about seeing him daily from now on. It seems like he effortlessly charms every girl he meets. Bro sure does rizzes up every girl he encounters. Kaori feels a bit jealous and asks Yuuya if he is dating Miyu-san. Yuuya, being the pessimistic hero he usually is, says that Miyu-san is way out of his league. Kaori disagrees. While they are talking, a purse snatcher runs by. Yuuya orders Knight to catch the thief. He and Kaori then go over to the woman to check if she is okay. Knight brings the purse snatcher. Yuuya tells Kaori to call the police. This makes the thief pissed off, so he tries to stab Kaori. Yuuya, as always, grabs his hand like a boss and throws his recast down on the ground. He goes along with Knight to the other world to kill more monsters. He and Knight keep on defeating different monsters together. They are done for the day. Just as they are about to go back to their house, Yuuya senses a strong level 600 crystal deer nearby with his oneness skill. He thinks it's better to leave it on his own since he's always a poo. The crystal deer decides to mess with them since he has that skill as well. He already senses them with his magical powers. He's got 2 horns, one for fire and the other for ice magic. Knight and Yuuya tactically team up and defeat it. Knight moves around quickly to create an opening while Yuuya takes the opportunity and slashes the deer, killing it. He gets a bath from the monster dropping this time. He is amazed at this drop since he never expects something like a bath to come out of it. They both enjoy and relax in the bathtub back home. They continue battling monsters until they discover a cave. Entering cautiously, they find no monsters inside. As he ventures deeper, the torches mysteriously light up, revealing a mythical atmosphere. Inside the cave, he uncovers the skeleton of a deceased person. Knight barks, drawing his attention to a book lying on the ground. Picking it up, he realizes it's the legendary Book of the Sage. Curiosity grips him and he wonders about its content. Yuuya picks up the Book of Sage. It belongs to the person who used to live in the house Yuuya now lives in. He comes to know that the sage knows everything. The sage writes that he has mastered anything and everything. He entered the realm of the gods while still alive. The gods invited him to join, but he refused their invite. Bro thinks he is better than God or something. As he is reading, it's as if the book starts to talk to him. The book informs Yuuya that his growing power will soon make humans around him fear him. The sage recalls feeling loneliness due to his own overwhelming strength, acknowledging the drawbacks of being exceptionally talented. He urges Yuuya to avoid a similar fate by forming close, trustworthy friendships and nurturing human relationships. The book advises Yuuya to develop these friendships gradually and at his own speed. The book offers him the knowledge of one ability he wishes to know before leaving. He thinks about magic. The sage writes everything he knows about magic in the book. He warns him to use his power wisely in the world and the other world. The sage tells him that he cannot use magic since his heart does not possess magical pathways. The humans of the other world produce magical energy with their hearts. They circulate it through their blood vessels and their entire body. The sage bestows him with the ability to have magical pathways in his heart. Our hero keeps getting luckier and luckier. Yuuya returns home and begins reading through the book with Knight. He discovers how to sense magical energy, feeling an overwhelming sensation similar to fire around him. Realizing he can use magic based on his imagination, Yuuya and Knight conjure a water ball effortlessly. He envisions it striking a tree with incredible force. Boy, did it hit that tree hard! It goes through the trees, destroying them. Meanwhile, the young knight informs the king about the man they encountered in the darkest region. He informs the king about how his daughter Lexia instantly proposed to him. The king gets triggered. He thinks that our shy, awkward hero Yuuya seduced his daughter Lexis. Yuuya goes to his elite school the next day. He thinks about how to control his abilities in this world. The teacher announces an off-campus study next week. The class is divided into groups of 4. Yuuya is confused as he did not notice this before. The girl sitting next to him informs him that they will be camping together for 2 days. Yuuya is in group 5. His team members are Kaidi, Akira, and a new girl, Rin Kanzaki. Rin tells Yuuya that she understands why he is so famous. It's because of his elegance and personality that gives him an image of a young noble. She calls Akira a moron and says if he keeps quiet, maybe she will call him a young noble as well. Yuuya tells them that he has no bag for off-campus camping. They all decide to go shopping for it the next day. The next day, he introduces his homies to Kaori-san. They are all amazed since Kaori is like the elite of the elite. She is the daughter of the chairman. They are amazed at how Yuuya is friends with her. Kaori tells them that it's chill and they should just call her Kaori and treat her like a friend. They go in to look for bags. Kaori picks a cool looking travelling bag for Yuuya. Everyone praises her for her good taste. The size is perfect for Yuuya. They tell Yuuya to bring along snacks for the camping as well. They then head towards the amusement plaza. It's an entire floor full of arcade games. Shingo is very desperate for the Hifuma Tan award in one of the crane games. Yuuya, being the cool hero that he is, decides to try the crane game for the first time and wins it. He uses his heightened perception skills and his detect weakness skills. He finds the point where he has to pick the box up. He uses it and gets Shingo the Hifuma Tan gift box he wanted so badly. What a simp weeb. He wins a gift from the arcade for everyone. All of his friends are amazed at his new skill. Kaori tells him that it's her first time visiting an arcade and that he is very cool. The boys head to the 7th floor for tea, while the girls head to the 13th floor for girls shopping. The boys get drinks for themselves. Yuuya gets himself a coffee. He is disgusted by how bitter it tastes. He wishes he had got a melon soda like Shingo did. Ryo makes fun of him and drinks the coffee. He is quite humbled because of how bitter it tastes. All of a sudden, the fire alarm rings and the mall starts to evacuate. They get to know that the fire started in the arcade and is heading above towards the 13th floor where the girls are. Yuuya runs towards the stairs to find out if the girls escaped. Ryu calls Kaida and finds out that they are trapped in the fire. Yuuya barges in towards the fire to save them as if he is Thorfinn. Bro is way too kind. It's gonna cost him a lot one day. He approaches the fire and envelops his body with water using his water magic. Rushing in, he finds the girls unconscious and cornered. Yuuya lifts them carefully, checking for any other trapped individuals, but fortunately there are none. With the girls in his arms, he searches for an exit but encounters a dead end. Realizing there's no way out, he decides to break through the floors below. Everyone is shocked to see him emerge with the girls. His friends mock him and tell him to never do such heroic acts all the time. Even the firefighters got angry with him. Everyone thinks it's foolish. Well, any normal person would think the same. Kaori's father expressed gratitude for saving his daughter's life once more. He heads back to his home, having thoughts about family. Knight eagerly greets him by jumping on him as soon as he enters. Yuuya continues to improve his magical abilities, focusing on mastering teleportation to different locations. He discovers that he can only teleport to places he has seen before. This newfound skill allows him to feed Knight back at home while he is away camping. Yuuya continues hunting monsters and exploring caves with Knight in the other world. They efficiently defeat goblins and collect valuable loot this time. Their teamwork improves throughout the day and they decide to call it quits. Suddenly, Knight senses something in the distance and urges Yuuya to use his disappearing ability. They discover a girl surrounded by elite goblins who have seriously injured her. Despite her injuries, the girl bravely fights back using her magical threads until the goblins eventually corner her. Knight senses something odd, so he stops Yuuya from saving the girl. Yuuya barges in to save her as usual and kills the goblins surrounding that girl. Just as he kills them, a pack of goblins appears from the dark, all surrounding him and the girl. Yuuya uses his divine whip from the inventory and whoops them all with one hit, like Saitama. Yuuya thinks about taking her back to his home, but Knight is against it. He can sense something sus. While Yuuya was taking her to safety in his arms, she wakes up and quickly jumps away from Yuuya. Yuuya tells her that it's fine and offers her the cure-all herb potion. She hesitates at first, thinking of it being poisonous, so Yuuya drinks it first. She then drinks it and is amazed at how her injuries disappear and she feels no pain. They introduce themselves to each other. Luna introduces herself, explaining she was training in the darkest regions. Yuuya mentions he's also training. Luna expresses admiration for Yuuya's victory over the Goblin Elite Pack and expresses her gratitude. She apologizes for being sweaty and dirty from the journey to this place and explains she can't return to town looking like this. Yuuya uses his bath so Luna can clean herself. Luna relaxes and cleans herself while they both talk. Luna hesitates and tells him that she came here for a customer request. There is something up with her. She asks Yuuya to accompany her in training for a little while. Yuuya agreed to train with her. She gets excited and comes out of the veil naked. Yuuya gets all red and panics seeing her melons. Yuuya and Luna train all day with Knight. They defeat numerous monsters and exchange valuable skills. By the end of the day, they praise each other for growing stronger. Yuuya compliments Luna's skills with threads and her dedication to training. He mentions that he has to leave her soon. Luna feels a bit sad, admitting she had anticipated it. She expresses a wish to take a final bath before parting ways. Yuuya is in the bath. He wonders why Luna let her take a bath for the first time. She always goes first. While he was thinking that, Luna gets in the bath with her, hugs her, and gets all over him. She expresses gratitude for saving her and showing her a brighter world. She offers to wash his back for him as a token of appreciation. Yuuya turns around and blushes nervously upon seeing her naked. Luna apologizes for the situation. Yuuya goes for his off-campus camping the next day. He wins 5 games of cards consecutively from his friends. He never played before. It's his insanely high luck that got him so far and is still helping him. He is tired, so he sleeps. Her friends wake him up when they reach. All the students are amazed looking at the extravagant building. Well, it's expected from the elite Usai Academy. They receive an introduction to the basics of the camping activity, which includes sourcing their own food with only a small amount of rice provided. Concerns arise amongst the students about the safety of the food. Their teachers reassure them that Miss Yomikawa, the school doctor, will attend to any health issues. She looks very weird. Yuuya and his group then split the tasks between themselves. They don't give any tasks to Akira because he keeps wasting time acting all girly and weird as usual. Yuuya and Kaede take the fishing tasks. They go towards the fishing area and find that it's full of students already. They are a bit too late. Yuuya uses his superpower to find a good fishing spot. He goes there along with Kaede. Our attention-seeking hero, being odd as usual, decides to fish with his hands instead of a fishing rod. He uses his super fast reflexes and the ability to sense what the fish is thinking. He learned it from his training sessions with Luna. He catches fish till the bucket gets filled up. Kaede stops him, saying it's enough. The students are amazed at his super fast reflexes and abilities. Luna is practicing his threads in the other world. She uses dolls to train. She beheads all of them in a single go. She thinks about Yuuya. She starts to get weak for him and melts thinking about him. She then rethinks and gets back to this original job, which is being an assassin. Now, we know why Knight was so against her. She is a member of the Dark Guild, known as a headhunter. Yuuya and Kaede return to camp after fishing. Kaede tells Rin that he caught the fish with his bare hands. Rin is amazed at hearing this. Our hero can do anything. Akira is lying on the ground. Rin says to leave him alone. Akira gets offended and says that he worked his ass off. He says that it was fine at first, but then he was used to test mushrooms for poison and as a decoy to lure away bears. Yuuya approaches and uses his ability to check for poison, finding Akira's physical health to be okay. They gather all the food they collected so far on the table. Yuuya discards the poisonous mushroom. They then head to get their food approved by their teachers. Yuuya meets Kaori at their campus. They have a fun chat. Akira, the simp, is amazed by Yuuya's riz and Kaori. Despite her elite status, Kaori remains composed, earning her the nickname Princess from everyone. They take the food to their teacher, Ri Sawada. She tells them that it's the first time a group bought so much edible food. She reveals her greedy intentions of having a good bonus if they perform well. She asks who is going to cook. The entire group points towards Yuuya since he does everything right. Yuuya was once a fat loser, so he knows how to cook good meat. He cooks a lit meal for his group and teachers. He cooks the fish, and as everyone takes a bite, a hush falls over them. Meanwhile, their teacher Ri comes along as well. She is drunk and asked to try the food. She gets silent after eating it as well. They all respond enthusiastically, saying it's delicious. The food is even yummier than 5-star restaurant chefs. Even the word delicious won't be enough to describe it. Ri overeats and is drunk as well. She simps over the hero despite being her teacher. She asks him to marry her since she is a slob who can't cook or do laundry. She can use Yuuya. She begs him to marry him and take care of her. Yuuya is all confused just as everyone else is. They all tell Ri to calm down. Kaede gets jealous and says that Yuuya is not good at all. Yuuya, being the pessimistic overthinker that he is, thinks that he is a failure as a human. His teacher acts like a drunk slut all over him. Yuuya says that it's not a good idea since they are both student and teacher. Hearing this, Ri hugs him and shoves his head down her boobs. Our virgin hero is experiencing heaven on earth at this point. Kairi pulls Yuuya away because he is unable to breathe. She asks Yuuya if he saw a glimpse of paradise, and he says that he saw the Sanzu River. He teleports back to his home at night and feeds at night. He gets happy making other people happy. He then takes a bath at night and gets back to the off-campus camping site. Everyone is staring at Yuuya's body in the bathroom. Despite being athletic and heroic and having good reflexes, our hero has a super lean, sculpted body as well. He becomes concerned as he notices everyone's attention, worried that something might be wrong. Meanwhile, in the girls' bathroom, Kaede gets bullied by Rin for having such huge busty boobs. She fondles and plays with Kaede's boobs and keeps teasing her. Rin says that she can slay any boy with her busty big boobs. Kaede asks other girls to stop Rin from doing it. They then gossip about how Miss Ri asked Yuuya to marry her. All of them are amazed. Rin continues bullying Kaede for her huge busty melons. Hearing this, the other girls, including Kaori, get insecure since they are all flat. Kaori wonders if Yuuya likes busty girls. The next day, they discover their camp destroyed and all their food is missing. They venture into the forest to find more food. While searching, they come across a large wild bear. Fearing for their lives, they run towards Miss Rai. She uses a wooden bench to block the bear and instructs the students to run. Everyone escapes except Yuuya, who stays behind. Just as the bear is about to attack Miss Ri, Yuuya intervenes as expected, overpowering the bear. The bear loses consciousness. His teacher expresses gratitude for his heroic act, and they wonder what to do with the bear next. Kaori comes along with the police and tells them that she has made arrangements to keep this bear as a guard dog in this facility. They ask what if the bear goes rogue again. She says that they will have a bear meal if this happens. The bear is sweating after hearing that. Yuuya returns to the other world for his scheduled meeting with the king. On the way, he encounters a band of red orcs. Recognizing them as a threat to Lexia-san's group, he swiftly kills them with knights. Using his massive legendary hammer, he crushes the orcs with a single powerful blow. From their loot, he discovers a rare and valuable face mask for himself. He then meets Lexia-san and his group. They all formally greet him. Knight senses something off and pushes Lexia-san towards safety. Yuuya analyzes the threat and gets rid of it instantly. He realizes that someone used magical threads. He detects the person behind this and whoops, they're at. He finds out that it's no one else other than Luna, the girl he trained with before. Lexia can follow him alone in the forest. Yuuya asks Lexia if he can take her home to treat her, citing his kind nature. Meanwhile, her knights rush towards her in panic. She reassures them that everything is okay and informs them that she is going to Yuuya's place for tea.